I'm just gonna walk out. That's it. We're gonna walk out. This is the camera, right? Okay, that's good. All right. This is the one that's always on, right? Yeah, always on. Good morning, everybody. We're going to start shortly. Just to let you know, this is the only podium to speak when you want to speak. If the chair doesn't see you and you want to speak on an item, make sure the chair sees you. Put your hand up. I think we set the chairs up correctly this time. Usually, because the camera, you can see where I am. This will be streamed live on YouTube. So please don't do anything behind me that you don't want your kids to see on the internet because it lives there forever. That's what I tell my kids, right? And we'll be starting very shortly.
All right, good morning, everybody. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variance from the provisions of the zoning that applies to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. We acknowledge the land we're meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people, and it's now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto was covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Committee of Adjustment public hearings are now conducted in a hybrid in-person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person, and others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All virtual participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, you'll be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. We also ask that you mute your devices until you're called on to speak. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelist when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You'll only be visible during your 5-minute allotted speaking time, and at all other times, your video will be disabled and you'll be reinstated as an attendee. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Those participating through WebEx are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist controls during your video appearance. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure you include your name, address, and email address because the Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Body will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons, and public bodies as defined in the Planning Act are permitted to appeal decisions of the Committee of Adjustment. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. For the hearing procedure today, I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. When your application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired, and when the committee does not require a presentation, I will let you know. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. Any presentation or other materials you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept materials at the hearing. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee on the application. Please note again, the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. Committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Generally, we'll call on speakers in the hearing room first and then those participating via WebEx. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they finish their presentation. And when all speakers are finished, the agent or applicant will have an opportunity to rebut those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion. The application will then be taken into committee for a decision. Before we get to the first item, Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer, do we have any confirmation of minutes of last meetings to adopt?
Through you, Mr. Chair, do you want to go through any conflicts first?
Sure, sure. Staff members, are there any declarations of interest for the items in the morning time slot? All right, see none.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have one set of minutes to approve today from the July 9th, 2026 meeting. Present was Ms. Casson, Mr. Nipfeld, Mr. Frizzelli, and Mr. Bartolo.
All right. Do I have a motion, Mr. Nipfeld?
I'd like to move approval of the minutes.
All right, do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second it.
Ms. Klein seconds that. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer, do we have any deferral requests this morning?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we don't have any at 10. The next deferral will be at a 2 p.m. time slot, but nothing for this morning.
All right, and I presume no files to close.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
All right, very good. That concludes our opening remarks. All right, starting off with item number 1, 241 Strathallan Wood. This is a consent application to sever the property into 4 residential lots and to create some easements. For parts 2, 5, and 6, lot 2, we have a variance for lot frontage and lot area. For parts 3, 7, and 8, lot 3, we have a variance for lot frontage, and for parts 4 and 9, lot 4, as well, a variance for lot frontage. On file, we have a memo from Development Review, Transportation, Forestry, Community Planning, RNFP, and Heritage Planning. All right, we have our agent or applicant in person. Wonderful. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Dan Watchorn. I'm a registered professional planner with Bousfields. My address is 3 Church Street, Suite 200. And yes, here is the agent on behalf of the registered owner of the project. I'm happy to give a presentation if it pleases the committee, but I am in your hands as I understand this is uncontested, but happy either way for me.
Sure. Just a quick question. I know that there were some concerns raised about trees over some of the lots, and I think those concerns have since been addressed, and the new site plan has been presented.
Yeah, that's correct. So there's been a bit of a process over the course of time with this application. Received comments from Urban Forestry a little while ago and made a resubmission to address those comments. And we received new comments from Urban Forestry that confirmed that all of their concerns had been addressed with the revised site plan that we had resubmitted and are reviewing today.
All right. Staff, I do see we have a speaker online waiting to speak to this item. No? Ms. Bain? Not present. Okay. All right. In that case, I'm going to ask my members if they would like a presentation on this file. It appears we don't need a presentation. We have reviewed all of the file material in advance. Thank you very much for the submission.
Okay.
If it's all right with you, it looks like I can move this right into committee.
At your discretion, yep. And happy, I'll stay here for any questions, but obviously.
All right. I'll ask then, actually, before we go into committee, any questions? None. Okay. All right. Let's take this into committee. Mr. Nipfeld.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a very straightforward application, refreshingly straightforward, and I have absolutely no difficulty with it at all. I'm prepared to move a motion of approval.
I'm okay with you moving a motion.
Okay, I'd like to move a motion of approval for the consent, and bear with me, I hope I've got all the appropriate conditions in the right area. The consent would be subject to the planning conditions, which are the standard consent conditions. There is a tree protection condition for the consent, and there's development, engineering, and transportation conditions. I believe that's all that apply to the consent.
That's what I have as well. Yep.
So do you want me to do the variances as well?
Sure. Let's actually, maybe we bring a motion on the consent portion
So-
then.
I'd move approval of the consent, subject to the conditions that I just mentioned from planning, tree protection and development engineering transportation.
All right. Do I have a second for that motion?
I'll
from Mr.
second that
Nifil?
motion.
Ms. Klein seconds that. All in favor? All right, that's unanimous. The consent is approved. Concerning the variances, do we have a motion for those? Let's start with parts 2, 5, and 6, lot 2. Mr. Nifel, if I'm not mistaken, we've got 2 variances on this, one for lot area as well.
Yeah, but I again, don't have any difficulty with the variances that are before us. I think they're quite reasonable.
Very close to what is required, certainly
Yeah.
from the lot frontage.
Yeah,
And I think
and it-
consistent with the block pattern on the
Very
street.
consistent with what's on the street. I'd like to move approval of the variances. This is where I might be wrong. I think they're subject to development engineering variance conditions, which are noted. F1 is forestry 1 is conditioned for all variances, but I believe the gentleman has indicated that they've already met that particular requirement. And I don't have any other requirements specific to the variances.
I'm in agreement with you.
Well, my stress is to keep the forestry, then they'll just clear it.
Okay.
The forestry, no, just clear it.
Okay, so then forestry 1 would be it for all of them.
As well. All right, so we have a motion from Mr. Nifil. The second for that motion?
I'll second the motion.
All right, Ms. Klein seconds that. All in favor? All right, that motion is approved. For parts 3, 7, and 8, lot 3, we have variance for lot frontage.
I would recommend approval or move approval of that as well. And I believe it's for the same conditions for forestry 1 and development engineering conditions.
All right, Ms. Klein
Second.
will second that. All in favor? Okay, that passes. And lastly, for parts 4 and 9, lot 4, again, one variance for lot frontage.
So I'd like to bring a motion for approval of that variance as well, and I believe it's also subject to forestry number 1 and development engineering conditions.
All right, do I have a seconder?
Second.
Second by Ms. Klein. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. All right, that takes care of item number 1. Those variances are all approved. A consent application is approved. All right, very good. Item number 2, 282 Roselawn Avenue. The purpose of the application is to alter the existing 2-story semi-detached dwelling by constructing a 2nd-story rear addition, a new rear deck with basement walkout, and a covered front porch with a basement walkout. Variances include building length, setback to a west side lot line for a rear deck, setback to a west side lot line for a rear canopy, front yard soft landscaping, setback to a west side lot line for a stair platform encroachment into a front yard setback, and setback to a west side yard and front yard setback for a front yard canopy. On file, just a moment, we've got a report from community planning, a letter of objection from 284 Roselawn Avenue. Okay, we have our agent online. Mr. Trotter.
Andrew Trotter, 81 St. Clarence Avenue, agent designer.
All right. Welcome, Mr. Trotter.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Trotter, perhaps a brief presentation.
Okay, well, this is to remain a single-family dwelling. The owner is, I'll mention, who actually has a PhD in agriculture. So as far as the soft landscaping goes, I don't think that's really going to be an issue. He has a young family that's growing. He wants to stay in the house, and he needs access to for the kids as the front of the house coming in the main part of the house is quite small. So he'd like to get the kids downstairs into the laundry area when they come home from soccer and sports events and things like that. And then he has a gym in the back and is hoping to build an as of right lane house in the near future that would connect him to his if it was to be maybe an office type, study or lane house. He's not really sure, but he'd like access from the back. So that's an as of right, anyways. The rear entrance. We had a brief back and forth with city planning about the soft landscaping for the front walkout. And the front walkout, we took it down to the square inch that we could do it and still keep it in the building code. We couldn't reduce it any further and still have all the applicable issues with the building code apply. So they were happy with that as long as we stick to the site plan as they mentioned. I did read the neighbors. The other variances with the canopy and whatnot are typical. They're in line with the existing roof. I think it's on A5. You can see the existing roof above has the same setbacks as the ones that we're proposing. We're just matching things up. I did read the neighbor's concern. We're not building anything in a right of way at all, and we're not changing any of her access to her backyard through that right of way in any way whatsoever. So I'll just say that now, and I'm not sure if she's here, but that I think pretty much covers what I need to say.
Sure. Mr. Trotter, are you familiar with the staff report from community planning? I just note that looks like there was some discussion between either yourself, the applicant, and planning staff, just regarding some modifications for the front yard soft landscaping and the platform
Yeah, I did.
encroachment.
So I did mention that in my first go here. Yeah, and sorry, maybe.
Sure. No, I should have
Yeah,
asked if
so-
there's any modifications to the application. Would you like to make any modifications to the application today?
No, we're doing I've sent in a site plan to city planning exactly what the revised plans are that are with the committee now, and we're happy to abide by city planning's wishes. That's
Okay,
not a
so
problem.
let me ask again. So you've submitted a revised site plan, I presume with some changes, and
Uh-huh.
in those changes, those will reflect in the variances. I see that the soft landscaping planning is asking for an increase in the front yard soft landscaping from 18.1%, which is what's on the public notice, but to increase that to 31.5%. Is that a change then today that you would like to make?
Yes, and I have actually, I sent that in, the revised, I sent this in with the revised, red line, back, before, more than a week ago, or the 10 days or whatever the time limit
I
was.
see that. Mr. Tar, just to clarify, we still need to have those changes on the record because we're
Yes.
starting from the public notice. So let's just go through those
Okay.
modifications. And I'm gonna state them, and then you let me know if that is a correct modification or not. So my understanding is we're going to increase the front yard soft landscaping area from 18.1% to 31.5%. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct.
And for
Yeah.
variance number 6, for the proposed front yard platform encroachment, we're going to reduce that encroachment from 2.36 meters to 1.82 meters. Is that also correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. And lastly, I see that planning has requested concerning variance number 6 relating to the front yard platform encroachment, that it be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawings submitted to the Committee of Adjustment and attached to their report. And I believe that's the site plan drawing you referred to earlier that you submitted to city staff. Is that
That's correct.
condition acceptable?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that's acceptable
So
and correct.
we agree
yes.
with that. Okay, so members, just and staff, we've got two modifications as well as an agreement of the applicant that he's okay with that condition should we provide approval on this application. Okay, very good. I have one question. The neighbor has raised concern about the shared right of way between the property. It is my understanding that all of this work is occurring outside of the right of way. Is that fair to say?
That's 100% correct. Yes.
Okay. I will just note when we have a site plan drawing, specifically dealing with the neighbor, sometimes it's helpful just to include where that right-of-way extent is on the site plan, just so that we can understand that is outside the scope of work. But I think given the that the porch and the roof structure and the stair is in line with the existing building, it is by putting the pieces together, I think I understand that it is correct that the work proposed and the variances that would support that work are outside of that right of way.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Okay, I have one last question. So then the increase in soft landscaping. So essentially everything outside of the staircase extension of the porch, that all that hatched there on the site plan drawing, all of that is going to be soft landscaping?
Yes.
Okay, and I noticed that there's still required access to get to the stair. What type of soft landscaping is proposed there? Do you know at this time?
I would just say right now it's that we could just say it's grass or it's it could maybe some I think just the grass would be fine. I mean it's I don't think that's a problem
Okay.
to have that to
Just-
keep that grass. And I mean if you look at my client's house, I mean he really maintains a full garden right from the deck right to the street curb, like right to the sidewalk. And he's very proud of some of the he's growing grasses from Central America, and he's he's definitely very interested in keeping as much soft landscaping as possible.
Okay, very good. Yes, and I appreciate the photo that has been submitted in part of the package outlined or labeled front of house, so we can see that. All right, I don't have any questions. I'm going to ask my colleagues if they have any questions. I see Mr. Nitfill does, so please, Mr. Nitfill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have two questions. The exit from the basement, if you go to the site plan again, can we get the site plan up on the? Yeah. The exit from the basement, which it says there new walkout, that actually ends on grass, which is not practical. So are you, if you were to place paving at the top of the landing, that would reduce your landscaping to less than 31.5%?
That would reduce it, yes. Yeah.
I think
And I mean, we were, working with city planning to make this as absolutely, I mean, that's the thing is we're trying to get every little square inch of grass possible. Or soft landscaping, and obviously permeable stones would be, would be not soft landscaping. So we're really trying to accommodate. I understand for, possibly like the entrance to a house or whatever. I mean, it may not be the optimal, entrance or landing, but it is it is a landing. It's still considered a landing. I mean, we have these off of decks. We walk off of decks onto grass, and that's a landing. And you know, this isn't primarily an entrance for the children. So you know, I understand your point, but you know, there are many instances around houses where we do use grass as a landing.
Okay, and the second question I had to do is the second floor balcony. It's immediately adjacent to your attached neighbor, the person on, I'm afraid I don't know what the address is, the attached semi.
Would be
Have-
280.
Have you spoken to them about that balcony?
Yes, the neighbors to the east, the 280, are actually very close with the clients, and they what we're doing on this run. They would like to mimic in the very near future as far as the front porch and the walkout goes. So they're very much in line with the owners of 282.
Do they have a balcony on the second floor as well?
I don't, well, that's a good question. I don't know. I can't say immediately offhand if they do.
But you don't have any objections from them about the balcony?
No, no objections, no. No, the communication and friendship is very good between the neighbors. Yeah,
Okay, thank you very much.
yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Trotter. We're going to move this into committee now. Mr. Nifel, I brought up the same, you know, my questioning is sort of in line with the same kind of concern, stair that kind of just ends up on soft landscaping. I think Mr. Trotter makes a good point in that it is a secondary entrance. It's not the primary entrance to the house. And I think, you know, understanding there's certainly limitations with the, you know, lot. It's sort of maybe the smallest stair that they could accommodate. I'm not sure in this case if they really could provide any more. That said,
I don't want the landscaping to go down further anyway, so.
yeah, I mean, you know, crushed gravel would work as well in terms of soft landscaping, crushed gravel on dirt. It doesn't necessarily have to be grass, but I think he makes a good point too. That a lot of decks, stairs kind of go right down to the grass. So I think it's a reasonable application in that sense.
I agree.
Yep.
It, with grass, eventually it's going to wear away, but as you said, crushed gravel is an option.
But I also think it's important that applicants understand we're looking out for this sort of stuff. You know, the plans as proposed, they have to perform a certain way. We can't just overlook those things. Any other comments? Pretty straightforward. Maybe a motion.
Straightforward with respect to the changes that were made based on the discussions with staff.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
that's a good
so-
point, Ms. Klein. Glad to see that there was a change, staff to increase the amount of soft landscaping and reduce the encroachment. It's good to see.
Yeah.
Maybe a motion. Oh, yes,
don't-
Mr. Nifel?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I really had some difficulty with this one. I'm really not in support of even the amended landscape at 31.5%. But I really went over the drawings, and I don't see any place where you could pick up extra landscaping and not basically undo the, as you said, the usability of the building. So on that basis, I would like to move a motion to approve the application as amended with variance number 4 changed to 31.5% and variance number 6 changed to 1.82 meters. And also that variance number 6 be developed in accordance with the site plan that was submitted with the planning report. I think that's the best that you can do on this site. It's a very challenging site given its size. And so my hat's off to the applicant for making it as good as it can be.
Yep.
I'll second that motion.
All right, second by Ms. Klein. All in favor of that motion? All right, that's unanimous. That application, as amended, is approved with condition.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Trotter. All right, item number 3, 1886 to 1920 Eglinton Avenue West. The purpose of this application is to permit an 11-story mixed-use building. The property was the subject of a previous minor variance application to permit a 9-story mixed-use building, which was approved on condition. We've got variances include building height, number of stories, main wall height, and step back. On file, we've got memo from Community Planning and Metrolinx. Oh, welcome. Welcome in person.
Hi there. My name's Sarah Gregory. I'm an associate with Bousfields. We're located at 3 Church Street, Suite 200 in the city of Toronto. I'm the agent representing the applicant, CB Wilkinson, with respect to this property. I will say there's also a representative of the ownership group, John Wyman, online to answer questions. He has signed up to speak, but is really only here to, support and answer questions, so doesn't need his kind of 5 minutes to speak.
Sure.
I do have a presentation. I'm happy to provide it, but I understand as an uncontested application, I'll leave it in your hands if you would like me to. go
Yeah,
through it,
I
please.
think given I guess the amount asking requested here might warrant a presentation. Just we make sure that we're all in alignment, understand
Yep.
what's being proposed. And also given the fact that this was also a file that received previous approval, my understanding, and now we're asking for a little bit more. It would be helpful.
Yeah, happy
Okay.
to do that. Thank you for pulling it up on the screen. Am I good to start? Sorry.
Sure, and as well, Ms. Klein also brought to my attention, we've got a community planning report, so I believe there was some discussion with city staff over this file. It maybe be helpful just to understand that process.
Sure. I can kind of weave that into my presentation, but there's a bit of a history on this file where we've worked through a site plan application with the city over the past 6 or so years for the 9-story building with a mixed-use component, so retail at grade and purpose-built rental above. In light of kind of the changing sort of policy and regulatory context and the built form context in the area, we have tried to consider how we could kind of maximize the efficiency of this site. And I'll get into that. So with the presentation, first, I just want to say that, we thank planning staff for all their work with us on this application, coming to a proposal and a variance that they do support. And we agree with the conditions laid out in the planning staff report. The site's located on the north side of Eglinton. It's about 100 meters west of the intersection of Dufferin and Eglinton, and the closest entrance of the Fairbanks station along the Eglinton Crosstown LRT, so line 5. That's within one of the city's protected major transit station areas. Next slide, please. If we zoom in a little bit further, you can see that the built form context is evolving in the area. There's a concentration of approved and proposed tall buildings, up to 42 stories. Within the checkered line that you see around the intersection, that's the 200-meter radius of the station. And there's been approvals in the area fairly recently for a 41-story tower to the north and a 34-story tower to the south, and that's all within the city's protected major transit station area. Next slide, please. Quickly, with respect to context, we are along an avenue, a mixed-use area, and we are within the city's PMTSA. Next story, please. Okay, so as I mentioned, there is an ongoing site plan approval application. Initially, it was filed for a 9-story building. There was retail at grade, 194 purpose-built rental units. 37 of those were secured as affordable rental units through the city's rental housing supply program. And a previous minor variance was approved for the site to allow this 9-story building. So that allowed encroachments into the angular plane, reduced minimum parking requirements, increased building height and street wall, and revisions to the required step backs. The site plan application does remain open and under review. Next slide, please. And now, as you have seen, we're here with an 11-story mixed-use building. So it continues to provide those retail uses at grade. There are purpose-built rental units above. It has a bit more of a streamlined built form that's better in line with the city's updated mid-rise guidelines. And it continues to provide an additional 9 affordable rental units through the same program, which is about 20% of the units in the building. Next slide, please. And I'll skip over the site stats, so one more slide. So I think this is what's kind of important. So why are we back here again today? So since 2021, there's been clear direction from the province and from the city to meet the growing need for housing, and the boundaries of the city's PMTSAs have been delineated, which oh, excuse me, sorry. Also, where was I? The types of densities and heights being contemplated by the city on these sites around transit has been established. And in response, as you've seen, the local development context has changed. And as I've mentioned, the city has started to rethink how mid-rise building forms and heights are to be set to streamline the delivery of housing within the mid-rise form. So in our view, the revised proposal and the variances better respond to those changes. Next slide, please. So the variances are on the screen here. As you know, they're for building height, for the 11-story main wall setback, and for the street wall height and step backs. Next slide, please. So with respect to building height, one thing I do want to point out is that the building generally has a height of 10 stories. But given that the mechanical penthouse level is wrapped by indoor amenity space, it is considered to be a story in the zoning bylaw, and so it forms part of the overall metric height, but it sort of has that function or that view of a mechanical penthouse level. So the revised proposal, as you've heard, envisions an additional 2 stories on top of the previous approval. You can see them outlined in red on your screen here. So the overall height is 11 stories or 37.3 meters. The additional height maintains the mid-rise built form contemplated along this segment of Eglinton and is supported without built form impacts as outlined in our letter in the supporting materials, and provides an opportunity to add additional 46 rental units to the area. Next slide, please. With respect to the 11th story setback, this is a bit of a technical variance. So the zoning bylaw requires that the main wall of all stories adjacent to Eglinton be within 0 to 5 meters of the Eglinton Avenue lot line to ensure that the building is built to the lot line to animate the street. But because the mechanical penthouse level is considered to be a story, it has a greater setback. And so we're looking to establish a setback of 8 meters there. Next story, please. Or next slide, sorry. And lastly, with respect to the street wall height, the additional 2 stories have been added to the base building. That's increased the overall height of the street wall to 19.98 meters or 6 stories, and there's a 2.98 meter step back above. And it continues to maintain a positive pedestrian experience by relating the street wall height to 80% of the right-of-way of Eglinton to maintain the scale and proportion that ensures that pedestrian experience. And then I know I'm over time, so I'll wrap up here. Next slide, please. So in summary, it's our opinion that the requested variances individually and cumulatively satisfy the 4 tests of the Planning Act. They provide for an incrementally taller building that responds to the policy and contextual changes in the area, and they provide additional purpose-built rental units along an avenue where mid-rise development is anticipated and within a protected major transit station area where housing is directed in a manner that has no adverse built form impacts. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Questions? Just want to confirm with respect to the 11th story mechanical, I note in the planning staff report, we've indicated that there's no residential units up there. It is just to remain purely as mechanical then?
It's mechanical, and there's a component of indoor amenity space kind of wrapping around the frontage that connects to the rooftop outdoor amenity space.
Okay, so
on
you've
the
got a
building.
rooftop terrace as well up
That's
there.
right.
Okay, very good. I don't have any other questions, colleagues. No other questions. We can take this into committee. Thank you very much. Miss Gregory, right?
Yes, that's right.
Thank you. Okay, let's move into committee.
To you, Mr. Chair, the presentation was, it covered everything that I was questioning within the community report and the sewer and the water main systems. I've heard about that, so hearing about that, I'm happy to make a motion if necessary. but
Sure,
I'd
of
like
course.
to hear from
Yeah,
either Mr.
I will say
Schwartz or
it's
Mr.
rather excellent presentation, very clearly laid out, starting with the broader policy in the area, proximity to the subway, and also sort of introducing some of the understanding why the changes are coming about, particularly with respect to some of the new policies coming out of the province and the city for intensification in those particular areas close to transit. So I appreciate the work that was put in to help us understand what's being asked for today. If there's no other comments, Miss Ms. Klein, do you want to bring a motion?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to approve the application with, there are no conditions that I see. Oh, there are conditions. There are
Community
Metro Lux-
planning.
the community within in accordance with the community planning staff report, and the and the Metrolinx conditions.
All right. That's second by Mr. Nipfel. All in favor? All right, that's unanimous.
you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Gregory. That application is approved with condition. Moving right along. Item number 4, 61 Ronald Avenue. The purpose of this application is to construct a new 3-story fourplex with a garden suite in the rear yard of the property. Variances include platform height, north side yard setback, platform encroachment into a front yard setback and towards a north side property line, platform encroachment into a rear yard setback, and a north side lot line. And for the garden suite, we have a north side yard setback and a south side yard setback variance. All right. On file, we've got a letter of objection from number 64 and 66 Chamberlain Avenue, as well as 63 Ronald Avenue and 57 Ronald Avenue.
Good morning. This is Noam Hazan from Noam Hazan Design Studio, located at 2770 Dufferin Street, Unit 213A.
All right, welcome back, Mr. Hazan. All right, we will get the clock up on the screen for you. You could ask for a presentation on this item whenever you're ready.
Sure, yeah, so we do have a presentation prepared, and I will just add a point of clarity. The letters are letters of objection and support, so they've all kind of supported the application or the overall application, but they have just some concerns. So even on the portal, it's sort of stated as objection and support, basically. Okay, I'll go through the presentation. So if we can go to the next slide. So it's a fourplex and a garden suite located in the sort of Vaughan Road, Oakwood area. We do believe that this application meets all the 4 criteria of a minor variance. I won't go through them. I'm sure you're very familiar with them. If we can go to the next slide, please. So just very quickly, this is it's an existing single family home, which will be converted into a 3-story fourplex and a garden suite, adding gentle density to the area. Next slide, please. So just a little bit of context. There are a lot of multiplexes going up in this area. We've only showed a couple here. Our firm alone has about 5 in this area, a few that have gone through this committee and been approved. So it is a very popular area for this sort of gentle densification and sort of conversions from single family homes to fourplexes, and I think even 6plexes now since the bylaw has changed. Please go to the next slide. So I'll just take you through sort of each of the variances. The first variance is basically the proposed front wall, the entrance way. The variance is 0.3 meters. The reason we wanted to raise the entrance to the ground floor was just to give a little bit of extra daylight to the basement unit. So very minor, but just so that we could have the windows above grade rather than have a window well. If you wouldn't mind going to the next slide, please. So the side yard setback is reduced from the required setback. However, we have actually increased it from the existing setback. When it comes to these fourplexes on these quite narrow sites, it is quite difficult to get functional internal layouts and bedrooms. So really maximizing the width is quite important to try and get that density within those units. And we have improved what is there currently. If you wouldn't mind going to the next slide, please. And this is also triggered by that same setback. So the front porch, if it's not set back at the 1.2, then it does trigger another variance. So also relatively minor, but the same thing is triggered from that side yard setback for the front porch. If you wouldn't mind going to the next slide, please. And the same at the rear, basically, for the I think it's the porch at the rear, essentially. Also, because of that setback, is also triggered at the rear yard. Next slide, please. So for the garden suite, one of the variances state that basically if there is an opening in the side yard setback, then you do have to increase the setback to 1.35 or 1.5 meters, but then there is a 10% reduction, so 1.35. We've adjusted the design to accommodate for that entrance so that we could enter from the side. And by doing that, sort of trying to find a happy medium by actually shifting the wall inwards to give an even greater distance of 1.95, just further away from the property line. Our assumption is that the purpose of this variance is to provide privacy to neighbors and whatnot. So we have pushed it in quite a bit more than required just in that area. If you wouldn't mind going to the next slide, please. And then the final variance, I think this is just like a sort of technicality. We realized this as we put together the presentation, that basically, I think we rounded up and they rounded down, the zoning examiner. We are happy to comply with this if it's required. But it's really, the difference is really 3/16 of an inch, essentially. So we noticed that upon doing this review. Next slide, please. I think the presentation's basically done. In summary, we do believe that this does fit very much in line with the EHON objectives, and we do hope that you will support this application. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Questions at this time? Yes, Mr. Nipville.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hazan, am I correct that in your presentation, the illustration for front wall height is in fact the rear wall?
Let's go back.
That's the rear wall. That's not the front wall, right? That's the rear wall.
Potentially, yes. I'm not sure. It might be a mistake. I have to check the drawings. Yeah, I think you might be right.
Okay.
Apologize for that. But same idea, same concept. The reason it was raised was to give daylight to the windows.
The two areas that I have difficulty on, you've already talked about one, which is variance number 1, which elevates the front door well above grade. I realize it's to put some daylight into the lowest level suite, but it's also, in my view, out of keeping with the existing fabric on the street. Most of the properties are. There's an entrance very close to grade, so I have difficulty with that one. If you have anything to try and convince me otherwise, I'm open to it. And I also think that the north side yard setback at 0.4 meters is really unacceptable. I think it's too small. So those are two areas I have difficulties with, but I actually applaud the way in which you've designed the building so that you don't have an external fire escape, and the top floor has been articulated in a way that helps with reducing vertical height, or the impression of vertical height. So those are just some comments while you're listening to others and when you're doing your response.
Sure, thank you. I appreciate the feedback. Shall I respond now, or is there any other comments? Do you prefer that I respond now?
Mr. Nipville, yeah. Did you want a response now from him, or should we hold that off to his response later? Yeah, we'll hold off. Do we have any other questions right now? Okay. We have some other speakers. Anybody in person, but I guess online. All right, let's hear from them. Yeah. Just that.
Maria Di Gregorio, if you can hear us, you're unmuted.
Yes, yes.
Welcome.
Yeah, I oppose this construction. I'm on 62 Chamberlain. My next door neighbor is 64, so I have a garden in the backyard, so it's very close to me because I'm attached to 64. So it would be like, I would not get as much sun. So, I oppose the construction. I don't like it to be there. So that's my answer.
Okay. Just a point of clarification. If we could just pull up, I don't know if we have the kind of block map. I want to understand the relationship. So, Mr. Gregorio,
Yes.
you're at number 62 Chamberlain, and I just want to understand where the proximity of your property is in relationship to 61 Ronald. You're
I guess
backing on.
my backyard, I can see
Ah.
this back because I'm attached to 64.
I
My
see,
house
I
is
see.
attached
Okay, so not
to 64.
your
So I could see the backyard, like it would just sort of go on my backyard on my way. Probably would.
thank you, staff. Very good.
The sun would be, I don't know. I just don't like it. I'm
All right.
opposed to it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We have questions for Mr. De Gregorio. None. Okay, thank you. We have another speaker.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Carlos has been unmuted.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
We can, yes, welcome. Name and
Yes,
address, please.
Hi. Good morning. Yeah, I'm the owner of 63 Ronald Avenue, and I totally oppose the size of the redevelopment of the bungalow. I think there's too many variances that he's asking for. The garden suite is not compatible with any of the neighborhood because it doesn't have a driveway. There'll be no parking at all for any of the 5 units he's proposing to build. And the effect it will have on my property. And he hasn't had any approval to remove at least a 50, 60-year-old tree in the backyard, and the one in the front might be as old. So I totally oppose him requesting all these variances. Like they're all called minor variances, but there's too many of them. So I think the garden suite, there's not one in the neighborhood. There's one in the neighborhood that has a private driveway, which has access to the back. 61 Ronald does not have a private driveway. It has a mutual driveway. And the proximity to my property is less than a foot apart. So by him building 3 stories, it will totally block all the sunlight from my backyard totally to my house.
All right. Question. I'm looking at the plans and I see on the second story, one of the variances we're looking at is concerning the setback of the rear platform. I don't know, how other members feel with respect. Sometimes when we have platforms that are elevated, we consider, on look and privacy into adjacent yards, particularly where we have a reduction in the side yard setback. As I noted, I don't know how my other members feel, but if that balcony were supported, would there be preference for a privacy screening on your side, or because sometimes that it actually increases the overall massing when we add the screening, but I do recognize that there can be some privacy or sight lines there. Do you have any comment on that if that were to be supported?
Well, like I just don't really think it's a massive project for the size of the lot. The lot is 4,000, a little bit more than 4,000 square feet, and he's trying to build a house just as much square footage on a lot, And the setback in a privacy fence is really not going to help me.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Any other questions for the immediate neighbor? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, that's all of our speakers. So at this time, I'd like to go back to Mr. Hazan and provide him an opportunity to respond to some of the concerns that were raised thus far.
Sure, thank you. Okay, so I will start with the original comment about the height for the entrance. So, we are only going a foot over what the proposed over whatever the required front wall height is of 1.2. So we are proposing 1.5 meters. And I think this is relatively common. I would also add that that with these multiplexes, because we have quite livable space in the basement, you want to get decent ceiling height. We had an issue on another project where we had to dig deeper because we were lower, and then we had to pump the sewage up because it was below the sewage line. So you do trickle into some potential issues when you get to construction. So we found that this would help our clients save quite a bit of money and cost, and can still allow us to have decent height ceilings in the basement. The other comments, so 62 Chamberlain, Maria had mentioned, the massing and the daylight. I don't really think there's such a concern there. We are compliant on height on both buildings. I will also say that it's hard to tell from Google, but it does look like there's quite a big structure in her backyard as well. So, I think it is in line. 63 Ronald, I do appreciate what Carlos is saying. We did actually send, well, my client did send, I think Maria and Carlos and anyone else who sent a letter to them offering to put privacy screens. It doesn't sound like they necessarily want them, but we are open to it should the committee feel like it's necessary. And then there was also some comments about like square footage and sort of being such a big massing. We are compliant on coverage. We really are compliant on almost everything except that side yard setback. And we are I am aware that it is a taller building, but we are improving the side yard setback to what currently is there now. Carlos had mentioned it's less than a foot, but we are actually over a foot from the property line. We're at 0.4 meters, which is over a foot. So I just wanted to clarify that in this response. I don't think I have any other comments besides that, we are willing to do what we can to mitigate the concerns of the neighbors. And if we do need to put privacy screens, then we'd be more than happy to. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We could just pull up the rendering at the first page of the presentation photo. I need a point of clarification because the rendering sort of depicts a very large side yard separation between the dwellings. But what I'm
sorry.
So what's going on there?
Again, I had a similar situation yesterday at committee in Toronto. We plug these into AI and then they create these nice context for us. It sort of wasn't an intentional width or whatever. It's just sort of that we the way we do it, we model the structure, we put it into AI and say, add some context. This was sort of a little bit of an oversight. And I do appreciate that it's not exactly depicting what's there currently.
Okay.
It's more to sort of give you an idea of the look of the building.
I mean, I would put forth that this is, borderline misleading You know, we're here for variances that have to do with setback, separation. Context really is everything when we're trying to kind of max out.
Yeah, I
on a
totally
lot,
appreciate
right?
that. I totally
So
appreciate
I just, you know, we got to be really careful with the use of AI. You know, they generate very beautiful images. You know, it's a beautiful rendering of a multiplex, but it's quite deceiving when we see these, you know, very large separation distances on either side to the neighbor. So just we could just be mindful of that, as well as other people listening in. We got to be careful with AI.
I totally agree, and I apologize for that. It wasn't an intentional you know, we didn't intentionally aim to mislead. It just sort of I hadn't noticed, you know, when we put this presentation together, it was more to show sort of what the proposed structure would look like.
All right. We have any more questions at this time, Mr. Nipfel?
Just if you leave that on the screen, another point, I'm not a big fan of AI for a variety of reasons. As the chairman indicates, it can be misleading. In this case, the point I'm going to raise, it's misleading in a good way. The elevation, the side elevation from the AI rendering indicates that you've stepped back the top level a bit and that you've continued the treatment of a mansard type of look and change in material. That doesn't match your elevation drawings. Can you tell me which you're proposing?
It should. Let's go back to, maybe if you can open up the plans. This is based off our latest design. There you go. If you go back there, yeah. Yeah, so it is the same
No, it's the side.
elevation.
It's the
Go to the
side.
side
Based off the same
elevation.
model.
The
That-
side you want.
We'll go. Let's be the west elevation. I think is what we're looking for, or the east elevation. I see that angular plane in there.
No, but
Yeah.
okay, but on the AI version, the third floor is treated differently from the bottom 2.5 floors. The material.
Yeah, we have
metal
used a
is-
separate
the metal,
material. We are using a
can-
separate material, so
continue-
we are
continue
cladding it
around,
in
and
a
it's set back a bit.
yeah. So the
So my
I
question
cladding
is,
material.
which are you proposing?
Well, the cladding material for the roof will be different, and it is thinner than stucco, so it will have a slightly set in, I guess, appearance on the third floor.
Will the top floor be stucco though, or will it be?
No, it will be a siding material.
Oh, it will be siding.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
Okay,
It's
so
we haven't showed materials on our plans yet, on our drawings,
this-
but it
this
will.
drawing-
The image, the rendering does reflect the materiality of what we are intending to
Well,
put.
I
on
just to clarify, I've caught now. I see where Mr. Nitfil's.
Yeah.
I want to make sure on the same page. The rendering indicates a side yard setback on the third level. Looks to be about a foot, 1 to 2 feet, about 0.3 to 0.6 meters on the third level. But the elevation drawings show that wall, that side wall, just to go all the way up. What are we looking at here? Do you see
Sorry,
what's
say that
done?
again.
It's set your third story in on your 3D drawings and on the rendering.
Well, the third story on the 3D is shown. You're looking at the back right now. The other side, on the left-hand side, is the front.
It's captured in the front and rear elevation because you can see that it's drawn in line.
So at the rear, it's going straight up. At the front, it is stepping back.
I'm not talking about the angular plane. I'm talking about the side main wall. The entire side main wall on the third level is stepped in the 3D representation, both the rendering and in the there.
Could you go back to the
there?
rendering?
It's in line.
Yeah, it is in line. It may be a couple inches in based on the material thickness. If we go back to the rendering a second, I just want to see what the gentleman's referring to. If you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, staff.
Oh, yes,
Get
you
an
are
arrow.
right, you're
You
right.
see that step back.
You're right. That's an error. Yeah, that's an error. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, that's
So just
yeah,
another
you're
word
right.
of
Thank you for
caution about AI.
Yeah, 100%. I've learned my lesson after today. I appreciate it. Thank
All
you.
right. Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
No, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Yes, Mr. Schwartz.
So I'm just concerned on the north side, you've got this very narrow setback and you want a garden suite. Am I correct? Like how are you going to access the garden suite with such a narrow setback?
Well, there is a I think it's a 1.2 meter setback on the south side. So there's a shared right of way there as well. Yeah, if you see that
So
on the
the
site
garden
plan.
suite
So it's access on the south side, and then we do require at least a minimum of 1 meter just for fire access and whatnot. So we are exceeding that.
Okay.
Mr. Zahn, one more question for you. What is
Sure.
the proposed basement ceiling height right now? Because I can't, when I zoom in on the elevations, it's too blurry for me to tell what that.
Maybe you could look in the section on, there should be one of the last pages. I believe it's 9 feet, if I'm not mistaken, on the section. I think it would be the next page. Keep going. Yeah, just after the elevation. Sorry, keep going. And there is a
Finished floor to
section there
ceiling,
which
9 feet.
Yeah, I think it's 9 feet.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, Mr. Niffill, one more question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The tree that is to be removed to allow for the stairway at the back, have you had any discussions with forestry about that? Because surprisingly, we don't have a report from them.
Yeah, we haven't received any comments from forestry. We have engaged an arborist. I'm not sure if there's an application being processed yet to remove those trees or injure those trees. That one being removed. But I was also checking that actually this morning to see if forestry had provided any comments, but they hadn't.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Let's take this into committee. Who'd like to get us started? Mr. Niffill.
Could I ask the Deputy Secretary Treasurer a question? I'm surprised there's no response from forestry. That's a major tree and it's coming down. If it's been a mistake and it's been overlooked, can we include a forestry condition just to make sure that at least forestry is having a look at it?
So sorry, through you, Mr. Chair, the best I can say is that forestry has indicated to us that they have looked at all of our items on our agenda, and they generally do not support committee adding on a forestry condition if they did not identify an issue to begin with.
But we can assume that they've seen this.
I would say that's correct. If you give us a second, we can just double check the matrix, the forestry matrix, and then just to confirm.
Oh,
Mr.
it's
Niffill,
not on the matrix.
my understanding is with forestry, when a tree falls within as of right, it's usually they're not. They don't really get in the way of.
Except this one's close enough that you could, if you wanted to, you could make adjustments to try and protect it.
But they don't have any length or building depth variances here, so they've kind of in
Okay,
the. That's my
I just wanted
interpretation
to
of
make
why
sure it
there's no.
wasn't missed. Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
I mean, I've got a few comments, but I want to open up to members to maybe get the conversation started before I jump in.
I just offer a couple of comments. I prefer the approach that is indicated on the AI drawing in terms of the top floor, but I don't think it's something that I'd be prepared to make a condition of. I still am concerned with the height of the front door. It's a long way above grade, but I appreciate that it's at the expense of or reducing it's at the expense of possible technical difficulties, water, and the loss of sunlight in the bottom level. So I guess I'm prepared somewhat reluctantly to agree with variance number 1. Variance number 2 is really small, but I realize as well that it's either the same or almost the same as what's already existing. So again, on that one, I'd be inclined to support what the applicant has proposed. In regard to the screening of the second floor deck, I think that there should be some kind of privacy screening provided at both ends. It's a long way up and it's right to the edge of the property. And as we already indicated, there's very small setbacks. So I'd be supportive of putting privacy screening on that patio or second floor balcony.
I'm not supportive of the front door height. I'll tell you why. I understand the argument about raising it to get more light in the basement, but when you have a 9-foot ceiling height in a basement versus an 8-foot, that actually makes the finished floor height actually further away from the window. A lot of people think taller ceilings in a basement actually help with light. I think maybe a closer proximity, an 8-foot ceiling or an 8.5-foot ceiling, I think is more appropriate. And I think there's other ways to get light into the basement, either through larger window wells, stairwells. I mean, there's all sorts of techniques that can be used. Oftentimes when you have an underpin or 9-foot basement, it actually does the opposite because the windows become so far detached from the floor, from the inside of the house. So I'm not sure I'm supportive of number one. I agree with you on number two. I thought that the separation distance initially was quite tight at 0.4 meters, but it is an improvement of the existing condition. I'll also add that it's consistent with the block pattern on the street. I'm actually surprised to see, that 1.2 meters is required because the block pattern is set up in such a way that there is a good amount of separation between each of the houses on one side, but then if you look there's the other side yard setback, they're actually all quite tight. So I think it's actually very reasonable at the 0.4 meters. But I will say, because they are maxing out on the length and the depth, and a lot of the variances to essentially get the largest building they can, and there's already the fact that because they're working with the multiplex, they're afforded greater depths. I'm not sure I'm supportive of the second story balcony being in line with the rear main wall. I think that they could have been afforded a little bit more setback, like a 0.4 meter setback on a second story balcony. In this case, just want to see 0.4 to the north lot line. If you look at the plans, I think it's very reasonable that they could have provided a little bit of a separation, which would perhaps not require the privacy screen, because then the side main wall, and to a certain extent, blocks some of the view that you can look back into the yard, rather than the railing coming all the way up in line with the wall there. So I think with variance number 3, it's very reasonable. And if you look at the way that the plan's set up, it's just off of a bedroom. There's no reason that door can't shift a little further back. And I'm not sure that each of the bedrooms needs these, balconies. I don't know that it's really necessary, certainly from, intensification. They can still construct the same amount of interior space, facilitate the same amount of intensification without the balcony coming that far. The garden suite variances I support. I think it was very smart to have the door notch in, and I think it's acceptable to face the neighbor fence. Also, given that the fact that the door is at grade, it's not elevated, so I don't think there's going to be any privacy or on-look issues over to the neighbor. Generally, though, it's a very supportable application. It's a good form of intensification for the site. It's a good example of multiplex. I don't know if they're going to incorporate those angular planes or not at the front. They're good to see. I hope that they do. But for the most part, with the exception of the minor modifications that I suggested, I think it's a very supportable application. Ms. Klein?
I've considered everything that you've said, and I've considered everything that the applicant has come to say, and I agree with you. Sorry. I agree with all the sentiments of my colleagues. And, you know, I'm not going to put that in. Yeah, I think it's a supportable application. I was going to talk about the AI, but we've gone over that a million times, so.
All right. Mr. Schwartz, do you have any comment, or not to put you on the spot, but if not, we could move maybe forward. Somebody bring a motion, see where it goes. I don't know. I'm not going to bring a motion, but I'll maybe one of my colleagues can, and
I'll try.
sure.
So I move to make a motion to approve this application. I don't see that we have any conditions on file, unless I've missed something.
Just full approval.
Full approval.
Okay. Do I have a second for that?
I'm going to vote against variance number 1. I've been up and down on this one, but I think on balance, I'm opposed to it. So I won't be able to second your motion unless you are also going to remove variance number 1, which is the door height above grade.
Yeah. And I guess
I just second it.
you'll second
Unless
the.
you want- Unless you're willing to take. Want to make the change. It's up to you.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna have a motion, so I'm willing to second it, then we can modify.
Let's see where it goes.
Well, Mr. Schwartz, I just want to. We can't modify it after, and I will say we're 4 of us, so
And I think
I don't
you're-
really
and
have a problem with you guys. If you two don't like it.
it's Miss Klein, it's your motion,
Right.
so I'm going to turn it back to you, and
hearing that, I think we'd be split with the 4 of us on it with the door height. So I think I am going to put in the condition with, it's variance 1 with the door height, right?
so it wouldn't be a condition, it would be a refusal of
Refusal.
variance number
Right,
1.
Right, sorry. So a
If-
refusal of number 1.
And I should ask, so I've raised some concern with variance number 3. I don't know if that's acceptable. I don't know whether or not a privacy screen would be appropriate, but I just want to raise that as a possibility that could be included as a condition. I frankly, I don't. The projection isn't enough that I have too much concern, even that it's off of the bedroom,
Right.
and it does create some additional massing. But I just want to raise that as a possible condition.
Okay, so
that
I'm
you're-
going to amend my motion.
Sure.
So I will make a motion to approve the application with refusal of variance number 1 and adding a privacy screen for number 3. Is it that?
Privacy screen, more specifically.
Yeah, you need, sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. If you're going to institute a privacy screen, you have to be pretty specific. So just some things to keep in mind. Where it's measured from, is it measured from the deck floor or from ground floor? So you have to be very specific. And also which side, is it east side, west side, north side? Is it 1 side, is it 3 sides, is it 4 sides?
Right,
So
I think we
that would
discussed
help.
both sides. Yeah, we discussed both sides from the deck floor,
The deck,
Yeah.
1.5.
1.5 meters from the deck floor.
On both
East,
both
both
sides.
sides.
In this case, she's proposing. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
The rear,
That's
the
not-
rear deck,
Yes.
rear platform, which is relating to variance number 4.
One-
1.5 meters from the deck floor.
And your motion includes removal of variance or not approval of variance number 1?
Correct.
Okay, I'd be happy to second that.
Okay, so that's second by Mr. Nipfel. So we have
Where,
motion.
where are we now then? So we've changed variance 1. Have we changed anything else?
No.
Or just
Uh,
variance 1?
We've added a condition for the privacy screening and a refusal of variance
Okay.
number 1 for the front door height.
Okay, but nothing else on the side yards. Okay, I didn't care about 1. I cared about the side yard, but fine. Okay.
All right, so thank you, Ms. Klein. We have a motion by Ms. Klein for approval of the application with refusal of variance number 1 the exception of variance number 1, and a condition to add a privacy screening of 1.5 meters from the deck floor up. That's seconded by Mr. Nipfel. All in favor of that motion? All right, that's unanimous. The application is approved in part and with condition. Okay? Sure, yes, the time is 11:25. Let's take a 10-minute break. We'll resume at 11:35. Thank you.
You said it was gonna have a service on the side. Yeah. I thought it was, nobody was here to complain, but.
Just be mindful, so when there's work, I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, we could have had a.
There's no ties.
We could have.
I only say that because you mentioned them in your All right, we're back. We're on item number 5. 15 Wheatwood Street. Purpose of the application is to construct a new 3-story detached dwelling. One variance before us for lot coverage. All right, is Mr. Hazan back?
Hello again.
Welcome back, Mr.
This is Noam
Hazan.
Hassan from 2770 Dufferin Street, Unit 213A, North York.
All right. Mr. Hazan, just before we get going, I'm looking at this file and I realized there was a previous approval. We only have one variance now. Why? Is there any changes from the other approval, or this just didn't get captured in the first application?
So we did add a pool house, a small little pool house structure, and a canopy, basically, since the original application.
Right.
We do have a presentation.
You've added the canopy.
Yes, correct. We added the canopy and the pool house since the original application. That's the difference, basically. The revised application.
Okay. I'm going to ask my colleagues if they have have any questions or if they would like a presentation.
I have one question.
Mr. Nipfel has a question for you.
Would you have any difficulty if there was a condition of approval that clarified that the privacy screen you've shown on the 3rd floor off of the terrace is to be 1.5 meters high?
I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with that.
Okay, thank you.
I think we may already have one, actually, if I'm not mistaken, from the previous hearing. But yeah, happy to include that.
Anyway.
All right.
So could I ask what, maybe I just missed something. So what, has he modified this?
Yeah, so the application was before committee. They received an approval in a previous decision back in January of 2025. But we've got a pergola being added in the back in addition to as a pool house, an accessory building in the rear. So it's triggered a single variance for is it lot coverage? Yes.
Yeah, and I will add, we're on a cul-de-sac, we back onto a cul-de-sac, so there aren't any houses at the rear, and we don't have any opposition from any neighbors.
Members, do we need a presentation from Mr. Hazan? We're okay. Mr. Hazan, it looks like we can move right into committee on this.
Fantastic, thank you.
All right, let's move into committee. Go. Any comment? Mr. Nipfel?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I personally think this is a supportable application. I don't have any difficulties with it at all. And I'd be prepared to move a motion unless my colleagues wanted to make some points.
No? Quite an elegant design, I might say.
It is, it's very nice.
Yeah.
I'd like to move approval of the application, subject to the privacy screen that's shown on the third floor terrace to be 1.5 meters in height. Otherwise, there are no other conditions. Yes, sorry. No, just on, oh, sorry, that would be helpful. But it's shown as on one side. I was referring to it as shown on the drawing. Sure, yes, please. Yes, shown on the third floor plan.
Mr. Nipfel,
Third floor terrace, sorry.
before I,
It's on the plan already, yeah. Sorry, did I interrupt you?
no, I want to just get a visual of that. It would just be on the, so it's the north side I see there, closest to the,
And it's,
yeah, sure. I see that, yeah, the,
it's shown, its location is shown on the third floor plan.
there's a substantial setback on the south side, so I don't think it's required there.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. We have a motion from Mr. Nipfel for approval
I'll
condition.
second that.
Yeah, a second by Ms. Klein, all in favor? All right, that's approved with condition. Very good. Item number 6, 24 Balding Court. The purpose of the application is to construct a new 2-story detached dwelling with a front porch and rear deck. Variances include setback from a shoreline stable top of bank, main wall height, front yard setback, south side yard setback, front yard landscaping, front porch encroachment into a front yard setback, and front stair width. On file, memo from Urban Forestry, RNFP TRCA, one letter of objection from 18 Balding Court. All right, we've got our agent with us.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and committee members. My name is Angshun Sun from Italia Sun, address 188 Strong Avenue.
All right. Welcome, Mr. Sun. I'm going to ask for a presentation.
Okay.
I'll just note, it looks like forestry staff has some concern over 2 trees in the front yard related to variance number 3. We've also got a concern from one of the neighbors over some front yard landscaping. I've just noted that.
Yes.
We'll get the clock up, and whenever you're ready.
Okay. May I go to the drawings?
Yes, staff will put those drawings up. Just give them a moment.
Thank you. Set plan, yes. So today we're asking 7 variances. The first variances is the actual setback from the physical top of the bank, and which is the 4.96 meters. The dashed line on the plan, it's showing the footprint of the existing building. So we have been working with TRCA for the past 6 months to respectfully to kind of have the building footprint, the rear of the building footprint, to be located at the existing rear wall. In that sense, I think TRC has been accepting our proposal. Because of this location, and then we don't want approaching any farther away into the TRCA regulatory. That's why in result, with the building sizes decline requesting, we're encroaching into the front yard setback of 1 meter. As you can see, the shaded gray area against the dash line existing footprint. And I'd like to point out there's one corner at the south of the property, which is 1.4 meters, and then all other sites set yard setback we're trying to respect for 1.8 meters. May I go to the presentation? Can I go to the page 2? So before the proposal, we did a bit of a research regarding the neighborhood character. I think the main wall height we're asking today fall into the neighborhood kind of proposed development. And at the same time, when we did research regarding the front yard encroaching, our neighbor, 22 Balding Court, they had a 1.6 meters encroaching into the setback. And then there's a 12 and then 14 Balding Court. They have a relatively encroachment of 3 to 4 meters. We believe the proposed building proposal meets the 4 test, and then we're here to ask for the approval from the committee. And then, do you guys want me to address the 2 concerns and comments at the beginning that the chairman mentioned?
Yes, Mr. Sun, looking at staff, I don't think we have any other speakers on this item, so it might be appropriate to address that now.
Oh, okay, sure. May I go to the set plan, go back to the set plan again? The drawings, sorry. I think because the nature of the shape of the lot and in result we just have less. It's more of a triangle shape at the front. In nature, we're losing a bit of a square footage after we put into a driveway and a porch. So we're slightly under the frontage. The front landscape requirements. At the same time, I think for the stairways, the plans, the existing building they're living in had a relatively bigger staircase, and then they want the staircase also line up with the main door, and then to be a bit of as close as the driveways. That's the result of the proposal. And then I would like to answer the urban forest condition. We understand there's a ravine lot, and then there's a lot of trees on the properties, and then the owner really want to keep as much as possible. That's the reason we actually engaged a arborist at the very early stage to generate the arborist report, sort of a mapping out the potential saving, and then some like a tree injuries caused by this proposal. I would like to point it out, the front yard setback, the Great Line, actually, it doesn't really encroach into the tree protect zone. And then if you can see the tree at the south, the encroachment of the footprint is into a bit of a more the protect zone of the tree compared to the one at the corner. So the front yard isn't really causing any tree kind of a removal injured. I think since now we already hear the urban forest comments, we're willing to work with our arborist and client, and then work through this condition, and then to see if there's the trees can be injured instead of removed.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. You noted that in the process, you had worked with an arborist to mitigate the impact on trees as much as possible, and that's with respect to the driveway. But if I'm not mistaken, there's an existing driveway right now.
That's correct.
So I just asked why realign or change the driveway such that we have the removal of mature trees at the front of the property if we've got an existing driveway that already has that if I would presume if maintained would have less impact on trees.
That is correct. It was mainly because the client's family wishes. I think this is a bit of a more reasoning that they from out of the houses they've been sort of stayed in, that the garage was located in the south, and then they were preferred to kind of stay in that location, and then it's basically a part of the family reasons and then family needs that this location is actually preferred from how they function, how they kind of enjoy the property, and sort of for their daily activities.
Okay. Members, any questions at this time? Mr. Nipville?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not clear on the 3 trees that forestry's talking about. The site plan that we have on the screen, you can see it, right?
That's
Okay.
right.
The 2 trees at the top.
Yep.
They're the ones that are they being removed?
No, that's not. Actually, the tree at the top closer to the house, and then the 2 trees closer to the front of the house, we were proposing for removal. And then what the third tree that the urban forest was talking about, it's a city-owned tree, which is at the very front of the property. So what happened is, I wish we would able to receive this urban forest condition a little bit earlier. I would able to pull out a Google image. So what happened is that these 2 city trees, at the moment, it's already been protected with a curb. So the existing footprint of the driveway, the curved line shows the south side of the proposed driveway. At the front portion, where at the city properties at, we are respecting the existing footprint. That's the existing footprint of the driveway, and those 2 trees has been raised up with a city-owned curb. So actually having that driveway located at that location won't damage the city-owned tree at all, because that's a current condition.
So of the trees that are shown in the front yard on this drawing,
yes,
the one that they have the most concern with, that they're suggesting one of the variances be not approved as a result, is the one that's at the side of the front staircase. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And is there any way you can reconfigure, the driveway? The driveway, I know, varies in width. It's extremely wide at the street line. It gets narrow, and then it gets extremely wide, or it gets wider again. I don't know why that is, but is there some way in which you can reconfigure the driveway and save the tree?
Yes, we can actually keep the driveway outside the tree trunk, and then I think for this for this tree species, and then have a ground cover wouldn't really kills it. It will just be a injured proposal for it.
And how, I'm sorry, I didn't get all of that. What would you do to preserve the tree? Sorry.
Yes, probably what we're trying to do is to curve the tree trunk outside of the driveway to make the driveway a little bit narrower when approaching to the house, and then having the driveway hopefully the south side of the driveway closer put it a little bit closer to the property line. So actually the tree trunk can be remained at that location. I think only evergreen tree, their roots are very much of a ground covered for this type of tree species. I think covering partial of the ground wouldn't kill the tree.
Would it be advisable for the application to be deferred so that you could come up with a proposal that forestry supports?
Sure. If we're open to that, we're open to that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nifel. Maybe a point of clarification. With respect to variance number 3, I don't know if staff can put an arrow, but I'm looking at the tree that is closest to the top left corner of the building. There's an indication of that 10.22 meter front yard setback. And we've got that. There we go. Yeah. Do you see that tree? My understanding is that tree also is brought up by forestry as a potential concern. And I don't know if there's an opportunity there because it's not just the house. We've got the porch that kind of pulls all the way over right up next to the trunk. So is it fair to say that that's also a tree that's up for discussion with the applicant? I mean, my understanding that their concern is with variance number 3 had to do with that tree, but I understand there's also a variance for we've stair width in here as well, which may relate to the.
We were sorry. May I add to that?
No, please.
Yes. I think the front porch of the house it doesn't really affect the it goes into the protection zone, but then with this minimum amount that encroaching into it, it actually doing a very minimal damage to the tree. And then I think it's the porch, the extension of the porch and the extension of the stairs at this at the moment actually causing that. And as I said, there is a different method of construction that we can actually do a sonotube for the porch, and then the tree can be actually saved instead of removed. That's a very easy way of saving the tree during a permit application. I think that's the urban forest concern. It's actually the porch itself that I think the edge of the porch, it's kind of stated relatively closer to the tree trunk. And as I said, there's an alternative way of construction to do a bit of a minimum damage to that.
I mean, perhaps with the building itself, but if I'm not mistaken, the way I'm reading the drawing, that porch comes awfully close to the trunk. I mean, I couldn't not possibly figure out how that tree would not be impacted by that porch.
If I might, Mr. Chairman, this goes back to the very first, I agree with you. The first point I made was in the forestry comments, it says, approval of the proposed front yard setback variance will result in the removal of 2 privately owned trees.
2, so we're talking,
2.
yes.
So I'm assuming that's 1. I don't know where the other one,
Well, where the
maybe
stair
other is the one that's in the driveway.
where the stair is, yes, in the
Except that
driveway.
there's a separate paragraph for that one.
Right.
So it's almost like there's 3.
Yeah.
I think the front yard setback doesn't encroach the first tree. We talk about it. I might assume the concern was the stair location that urban forestry was looking at, because the front yard setback does not encroaching into the tree in the middle of the driveway.
We're talking about that tree on the screen?
Yes.
And
Yes.
And is that porch, that line indicated with the edge of the 2.9 meters, 1.83, that is the edge of a constructed porch, is it not?
That is correct. What I tried to explain was the great line of the building footprint encroaching into protection zone is really minimum. I think it's the approach itself that the urban forestry was concerned. And then as we today understand the urban forest concern, we're willing to, minimize the width of the porch and then just to be relatively closer to the main stairs, and then and then in that case, that tree can be apply as a minimal injured.
All right, okay. I don't have any other questions. Mr. Schwartz?
So I thought Mr. Nipfel asked if the applicant was willing to defer in order to consult with urban forestry. Did we get a yes from the applicant? Are we, like, I mean, we've been doing a lot of discussion here, but
He indicated that he would be, I thought that he'd be agreeable to that.
he'd be agreeable.
I
to that.
believe.
That's what I thought too.
Well-
Then we kept going and
Yeah.
so I'm just confirming, we can go with a deferral, right? Like,
I think
yeah,
yes.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions? Are we happy to move this into committee?
Yeah, I was gonna question,
ready
but
to
since we
make
sort of
a-
amongst ourselves agreed that
All right.
there's no need for further question because it was already answered.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Son. We're gonna take this into committee now.
Yep.
I wholeheartedly disagree with the impact of the tree. I think the house is sort of encroachment into the tree protection zone. And when I say tree protection zone, I'm looking at the extent that's drawn on the survey. You know, that I can take as a valid submission, but the porch itself almost comes right up to the trunk. And to my colleague's observation, noted that the basement foundation, if we refer to the basement plan, that I just don't see any possible way that tree's not going to be impacted. And I would be in agreement with urban forestry staff that some additional work is needed with staff to better mitigate the impact on these trees, particularly that there's an existing driveway and the reconfiguration really just resulted through the applicant's own personal desire is resulting in a removal of mature, healthy trees on the lot, which I don't, my opinion, is not consistent with our official plan policies concerning development and forestry. So I don't know how my colleagues feel, but I think a deferral would be an appropriate path forward so that they can resolve some of these issues.
I think so. I think,
Forestry staff.
like, I'd like to motion for that because I think makes the most sense that you can resolve the matter. Let me see, I got a motion here somewhere, if I can
Yeah.
find it.
Is that a motion, Larry?
Yeah, I'd like to bring a motion that the application be deferred so the applicant can consult with urban forestry and address the tree preservation concerns.
Second by Mr. Nipfel. All in favor? All right, application is deferred. You're on item number 7, 123 Garrett Boulevard, also 2 Hanover Street. All right. Purpose of this application is to permit 2 air-supported indoor sports domes. Requires 2 variances, GFA and height. On file, we've got correspondence with community planning. Oh, welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members. Ida Evangelista on behalf of the owners of 123 Garrett, also 2 Hanover Road.
Welcome. I apologize, Ms. Evangelista, we're so used to having you online, but I recognize the voice. Welcome to committee.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, you've come down in person, perhaps a brief presentation.
If you would prefer, yeah. And I believe, I'm not sure if the counselor's still online. No longer? Okay. The counselor also wanted to be a part of this hearing. However, he had another commitment that he had to leave for, but I will give you a brief explanation as to what it is we're doing and why.
Okay.
So this application proposes 2 air-supported sports domes to accommodate recreational activities, which include soccer and tennis pickleball, on a very small portion of the former Downsview Airport lands. Planning has reviewed the proposal and confirmed that the proposed location of the sports dome is compatible with the long-term vision of the Downsview Secondary Plan and has no objection to the requested variances. The lands are currently subject to a holding provision, and a separate application to remove the holding symbol was submitted to planning. Planning is actively processing the application and has expressed its support for the removal of the holding symbol and therefore progressing concurrently with this minor variance application. And you have received the letter of support from the planning department. The subject lands form part of the former Downsview Airport lands and are located on the north side of Hanover Road, approximately 750 meters east of the Barrie GO Rail corridor, and compatible with the city's objective of introducing appropriate interim activities that contribute to the vitality and community function of the area. The proposed facilities will provide indoor recreational opportunities throughout the year for organized sports, recreation, training, and community participation. We are requesting 2 minor variances, one for gross floor area for the soccer dome and the tennis pickleball dome, and we are requesting a height variance for the soccer dome. The increased gross floor area and height are directly related to the unique functional requirements of air-supported indoor sports facilities. The additional height is necessary to provide adequate clearance for soccer, while the increased floor area allows the facilities to operate as a viable indoor recreational venue. The sports domes will provide an important investment and opportunities for youth, organized sports, and community recreation and active living and lifestyles, and will also address the growing demand for indoor athletic space within the area to meet the demands of the community. Will also make productive interim use of the lands and contribute to the vitality of the surrounding area, providing a community benefit, which it will also be offering 22 free hours per week. Indoor soccer, tennis, and pickleball facilities are increasingly important components of year-round recreation. The proposed domes will provide accessible opportunities for organized sports, training, community programming, bringing the community together. The proposed sports domes represents an appropriate, desirable, and policy-supported use of the Downsview lands, consistent with the city's objective through meanwhile uses, while maintaining the long-term redevelopment vision for the area. You've also received a letter of support from the local councillor for the proposed facilities, and that further demonstrates the value of recreational use to this community. For these reasons, I respectfully submit that the requested variances satisfy the 4 tests and represents appropriate and desirable development of the subject lands. And I have open to questions that you may have.
Thank you very much, Ms. Evangelista. Questions? No? Yes, Mr. Schwartz.
I just want to understand this holding symbol issue. So the recreation is not allowed until holding is lifted. Once we lift the holding, then what happens? Like
Recreation is permitted.
recreation is permitted. It's just a little unusual.
Through you, Mr. Chair.
Of course, yes.
Member Schwartz. So this area is in a holding symbol. An application has been submitted to the planning department, and it is currently being reviewed and being removed so that we can allow for the recreational area to be permitted. Planning has also written in a letter of support to this degree, and we are now, because planning is in support of removing the holding symbol, we are now being allowed to be here today for the variances. So we're running concurrently because this is a very large investment for the area, and we're just trying to expedite it as quickly as possible.
So effectively, the hold is somewhat conditional. It's there, but it's not really
there.
But that's why you're here. It's there.
That's why you're
not
here.
really there,
Yeah,
and you're
exactly.
here.
Yeah.
And not there.
Well, and I wanted to be in front of all of you to see you personally.
Mr. Chair,
Obviously.
if there's no other questions, we were just going to throw up Councillor Pasternak's letter.
Yes.
It was a support letter. We'll just quickly show it just to confirm.
Very good. Members, any more questions? All right. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Evangelista. We'll take this into committee now.
Mhm.
We have it. Yes, we do have a staff report in our package. Actually, I'll pull this out of committee just briefly. Ms. Evangelista, you're aware of the staff report. They do have a condition in there, which I presume that you're
I'm
okay
agreeable.
with.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Back into committee. Yes, Mr. Nipville.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Unless my colleagues have any concerns with this, I don't. I think it's a very straightforward application.
Good location too.
Very good, a good use as well. I'd like to move approval of the application, subject to planning department's condition that the sports domes are be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan that they submitted, and I think it's drawing A000.
Yes.
Correct. Yes, dated June 24th, 2026.
Yes.
Attached to the staff report. All right, do I have a second for
Second.
that motion? Mr. Schwartz, all in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. It's approved with condition. And good to see you in person, Ms. Evangelista.
Nice to see you also, and I'll be talking to you again this afternoon.
Oh, great. All right, moving on to item number 8. 844 Don Mills Road. Purpose of this application is to permit roof overhang for the proposed Don Mills Community Recreation Center. It requires one variance related to the height and setback of the roof overhang. On file, we just got some correspondence with Metrolinx.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. Matt Lammers here. May I proceed or?
Yes, please.
Hi there. My name is Matt Lammers. I'm an associate at MJMA Architecture and Design located at 135 Liberty Street, Suite 400. I am the project architect for this subject property and acting as agent on the behalf of our client, which is the City of Toronto Parks and Recreation Department. I understand the application is uncontested, so I'll leave it up to the committee as to whether you'd like me to give a short description of what's being requested.
Of course. Members, we need a presentation on this item. I see heads shake. If it's all right with you, we can take this right into committee.
Absolutely.
And you are aware of the Metrolinx conditions that are being requested by their correspondence?
Correct. Yes, we've already initiated the corridor development permit process. We've been working closely with them, and that is on track. And yeah, pretty much aware of their requirements.
All right. So no concern with those conditions they're requesting then?
Nope.
Okay. Very good. Let's move into committee. Yes, Ms. Klein.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think that this application is pretty straightforward and supportable, so I would be able to approve it. And I will make a motion to do so.
Sure. Friendly.
I haven't done the motion yet.
Oh,
I'm
I
just
thought you
waiting
were
for your
doing the
comments.
motion.
No. If you have any
It
comments.
sounded like a motion.
If you have any comments, Mr. Nipfeld or Mr. Schwartz, I can go ahead.
No, just
Okay.
I think it's fine.
Move a motion to approve the application with Metrolinx conditions apply.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Ms. Klein. Second by Mr. Nipville. I saw the hand go up first. Metrolinx
Metrolinx
conditions.
Yes.
Their conditions.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. There's no condition, just comments.
Comments.
Okay.
Okay.
So do we need the subject to Metrolinx comments?
I thought the way this was worded, we did. Because that they want to address the specific things in the note.
I think we did.
I can't see that there's a problem.
Okay.
the property falls within 60 meters of the LRT corridor. I think we need to.
I can't really tell if the comments are something that needs to be fulfilled, which is different than a condition. So sorry, we just threw them up on the screen. So you can see everything after 2 is outlined as a comment.
Right. I think it's okay to you know, they'll clear them. They've already indicated that they're working with Metrolinx, so I mean, it's your motion, Ms. Klein. So
What's the harm?
I don't think there's any harm in leaving that condition. There's
all right, so Ms. Klein's got a motion for approval subject to the condition noted in the Metrolinx email, and that's seconded by Mr. Nitfeld. All in favor? All right, that is unanimous. That application is approved. Moving right along, item number 9, 416 Rydell Avenue. Purpose of this application is to construct a new detached dwelling with a rear terrace. Variances include main pedestrian entrance height, building length, building depth, FSI, second story platform area, east side yard setback, west side yard setback, and eave projection. On file, we've got correspondence with Urban Forestry, 1 letter of objection from 418 Rydell Avenue, and a second letter of objection from 420 Rydell Avenue. All right, we've got our agent with us.
Yes, Joe Dome, 133 Torresdale Avenue, agent for the owners.
All right, Mr. Dome, get the presentation, get the clock up on the screen, and anytime you're ready.
Thank you. The owners would like to construct a new detached dwelling with an integral garage and rear terrace to accommodate family needs. They are a family of 4 with 2 older children, and the owners would also need to accommodate their parents when they visit. I'd like to emphasize that we have had in-depth discussions with planning staff before submitting the application. The design was revised in accordance with their recommendations, and the drawings before our committee today reflect those revisions. Therefore, we would request to remove variance number 8 as the east eaves no longer project beyond the side main wall of the dwelling.
All right, very good.
Planning staff has no concerns. There are 7 variances requested now. Variance number 1 refers to the proposed entrance height of 1.42 meters. This is a modest difference. It does not result in any additional overall building height. And variance number 2 refers to the proposed building length of 19.47 meters. I'll note that this is a fairly narrow lot with a limited ability to build wider, so the only real option is for length. And while a length variance is sought, the proposed dwelling fully complies with the bylaw for front and rear yard setbacks, as well as height and main wall height, which help to mitigate impact. And the proposal also incorporates integral garage, allowing the existing detached garage at the rear to be removed. And I'll note that the dwelling 2 houses west at number 420 does have a similar length for their 2-story massing, as can be seen by comparing the rear garage positions on the site plan and survey with the view of number 420 from the overhead Google Maps view, and their first floor maybe even slightly longer. Variance 3 proposes building depth of 21.41 meters, and again, notwithstanding the numerical depth, no front and rear yard setback variance is required, and the proposed dwelling is actually set back further from the streetscape, which does allow for more soft landscaping and does provide a greater buffer. It's actually more in line as far as the front yard setback to most of the dwellings to the west and east, with the exception of the adjacent dwelling at number 418. And we believe this provides important context when considering the actual impact of those variances. And variance 4 refers to the proposed FSI of 1.23, whereas the bylaw is 0.8. Now, to clarify, because of the relationship between the established grade and the lower level, what would normally function as the basement is classified here as the main floor under the zoning bylaw, and that floor area is reflected in the FSI variance of 1.23, whereas the FSI without the basement included is 0.86. There was a dwelling across the street at 425 Riddell that was approved for a 0.9 FSI. And I believe that was this year. So while the basement is included as the main floor under the zoning bylaw, there is no overall height variance, no main wall height variance associated with the proposal. So it does not directly translate into excessive above grade height or massing, which would be more in line with 0.86 FSI. Variance 5 proposes a rear terrace of 15.4 square meters. This is affected by the same zoning interpretation, and because the lower level is treated as the main floor, it's technically classified as a second-story platform, but physically it serves the main living, the main floor, rather than as an upper-story balcony. But to address some of the neighbors' comments regarding overlook, the owner would like to propose a privacy screening on the terrace to the committee's satisfaction. And variance 6 refers to the proposed east side yard setback of 0.16 meters. There's two important points here. First, 0.16 meters is the same setback occupied by the existing one-story dwelling today. It therefore maintains the existing relationship to the east lot line rather than moving the house closer. And second, the property is immediately adjacent on this side to a hydro corridor rather than the side yard of another conventional residential lot. Variance number 7 is requesting a west side yard setback of 1.08 meters, whereas 1.2 meters is required. And importantly, there's a registered right-of-way along this side. The survey identifies that right-of-way as 1.07 meters wide, and the proposed dwelling is positioned at 1.08 meters. So the building remains outside of the physical limits of the registered right-of-way. And the owners really needed the slight additional width to accommodate a comfortable 4-bedroom layout on the second floor. This would allow just under 9.5 feet for bedrooms 2, 3, and 4, as well as at the rear a 13.5 foot wide primary bedroom and 5'3" wide ensuite bathroom. And so it allows a reasonable use of this narrow lot while continuing to preserve the existing right-of-way agreement. And it also note the integral garage means that the use of the right-of-way will also be reduced. They would no longer need to use it. And overall, we believe the application is reasonable in context and satisfies the 4 tests. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you. Questions at this time? Okay, we have some people have come in person for this. Please come on up. We'll get your name and address to start.
Sure.
You pull that mic right down so we can hear you. There we go.
Hi, my name is Rishma Parikh. I am the owner of the next door property 418 Riddell. I have my co-owner Anish Sutaya with me here as well. I know we have already submitted our concerns slash, conversation points regarding this particular development, but I'd like to, for the sake of time, I'd just like to boil them down to 3 main concerns that we have.
Great.
One is the one that variance 7, the west yard setback, the one that is in the right of way. Now, in our letter, we do have a couple of pictures. And if I'm understanding this correctly from layman's perspective, I think if you can scroll down further, actually, where the car is. So there's a garage at the back, and there's the current right-of-way is extremely tight for the car to go in. My fear is that if the 5.5 inches that is proposed to go inside of that driveway, I'm not going to be able to use that at all. So that's the one concern that I have. And the second one is based on the general massing. Yes, that's correct. Like the massing that is proposed is similar to the 420 Riddell, which is on our the other side of our property. But the concern here is the platform. Yes, in fact, and the owner has been kind enough. They had written an email yesterday, I want to say, where they have proposed to put what the architect proposed here as well, which is the screens. the concern with that screen, and again, it refers to a couple of pictures earlier that we just saw. We are getting adequate light in our backyard. Right now, I'm trying to sort of have a little gardening going on, and we have good light from about 6 in the morning to about, I want to say 12. All that is going to be affected by this. As well, introduction of any screen or any trees on that side is directly actually going to even interfere with more light. So I don't know how that solution is going to work for us. And the third concern is the garage. So our garage actually is very old. It's 60 years old property. It was hand built at some point, I'm thinking. The demolition of this garage and the construction of the house, in my opinion, is very close to this property. Anything that is done is going to be damaging to that. So I don't know how I'm sure it's a construction management question, but it's also like the overall impact to like our private properties. So, just these are our 2-3 main concerns, and yeah, that's about it. I generally, sorry. Yeah, okay, there's one more thing, and this is more of a future sort of plan of ours. We want to put, the lot is really deep. It's about 120 feet deep. And we want to eventually be building a garden suite as well. Now, reduction of the driveway, it's not, I did look up the clearances and for the fire out, but it might affect the clearance, the access to the garden suite as well. So a couple of concerns there. That's it, I think. That's about it, yeah. Thank you.
Hold on, members, do we have any questions?
Yes, just some clarification.
Oh, please stay up at the podium.
The picture with the garages, if we can get that back up, please. Which garage is yours?
So mine is the one on the left right now of the picture.
Okay, so then go back to the picture with the car. So that's a shared.
That's the shared driveway, that's
Right.
correct, which leads up to the,
And then you turn and go to the left to get to your garage, correct?
that's correct. It's actually pretty straightforward. So this is a little bit misleading, but in the, most of the space between the end of the properties and towards the garage is really shared, so, and most of it falls into like our zone because you can see the garage from the midline.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Nipfel.
Sorry. Are you aware of what the setback of the house that we're looking at today? Do you know what the setback is now?
My property?
No, on the property that we're looking at. The proposal is that there be a west side yard setback of 1.08 meters. Now, that includes this driveway, right?
Correct.
So it's not a legal, can I go back to the photo again for a second? So it's not a legal right of way, is that correct?
I don't believe it is.
It is.
Well, then
The
how-
instrument that is available on this thing, I think is a legal right of way.
So
it's shared.
Is the request for a 1.08 meter setback going to make this narrower?
Yes. It's a little bit wider right now by about 5.5 inches, if I'm reading this correctly.
Yes, thank you, staff. So, Mr. Nipfel, if you look on the survey,
I can
the
see
right
it.
of way, there's actually a little bit.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Got it.
You'd think
Okay.
that the right of way would go to the building extents, but it doesn't. So, with that little bit of additional setback, they're using everything they can to kind of get the car through.
yeah, it's
They're
about-
relying on part of a right of way that is
Yeah.
not actually in the right of way. It's
Yeah.
small, but you can
Yeah.
you can appreciate how
Tight it is.
tight it is already.
Yeah, actually, this is a funny thing. It affected our choice of car. We will not buy a bigger car because we could not take it through that. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's just.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Any other questions? All right. Let's turn it back to our agent, Mr. Dome.
Yes, to speak to those comments. So on the right-of-way issue, I do agree the existing access is narrow, and I don't think the photos suggest otherwise. But the key point, though, is that that there is an existing shared vehicular access, so it's not a new condition. But also to determine whether the 12 centimeter change materially alters the functionality of the existing access. So if there was a technical concern from Transportation Services or another reviewing agency that the proposed width would make the access unsafe or unusable, so that would be important. But absent that, I would be cautious about concluding from the photographs. This is a relatively small reduction that fundamentally changes the existing condition. I do acknowledge that it is existing. The existing condition is tight, but the question is whether the proposed variance creates a new adverse impact. And in our view, the incremental change is limited, and importantly, it does still maintain the right-of-way agreement within those boundaries.
All right. I want to ask you, sir, about with respect to variance number 5. You've got the platform at the rear.
Yes.
Has there been any discussion concerning potential screening if that were to be approved?
Yes. So I did discuss with the owners, and they were. I did mention in the presentation that they, to alleviate some of the neighbors' concerns, they were willing to include privacy screening on that terrace as well to committee satisfaction.
You spoke with neighbors on each side, or just on the one side?
So on the east side, there is a hydro corridor.
Right.
It's not a residential lot.
Right. Okay. Understood. Mr. Niffill.
Thank you. Could you tell me what the west side yard setback is of the existing building?
I believe that's 1.2 meters.
Pardon me?
1.2 meters.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Let's take this into committee. We'd like to get us started here. Mr. Niffill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to get the comments started. I haven't changed my mind. When I reviewed this material a couple of days ago, I was really concerned with variance 5 and variance 7. My concern hasn't lessened. If anything, it's increased. I don't believe that second story platform is a reasonable addition in this location.
Yeah.
And while I usually advocate for screens, I don't think the issue here is that we need a screen because the bylaw permits it. We need a screen because the variance permits it. So I don't think the variance is warranted. I also don't support the west side yard setback. As the photos indicated, and basically, as I was measuring from the drawings, this is an incredibly narrow driveway between the two properties, and making it narrower, as this variance would do, I think really renders the driveway almost, if not completely unusable. And as we heard, for certain cars, it does. It can't use certain cars. So I'm unable to support variance. I could support the rest of the application, but not variance 5 and variance 7.
Yeah, Mr. Devil, I'll just note, I think part of the reason that I too share your concern. Well, just variance number 5, I think, is with respect to the large terraces exacerbated by the fact that we're already pushing past the length and depth quite a bit on the property. I think if that was more in line, perhaps that may be more acceptable, but the difference in as well in the massing between the sort of existing built form of the houses on the street, they're small houses, they're relatively smaller massings. In a lot of cases, they're one-story buildings. So to have a building depth and length of that with the raised height, the platform, and again, we go back to that main entrance height.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure number 1 is supportable. I don't see any reason for the extra additional 0.22 meters in height. They've got an interior stair that could easily be mitigated, and I think that also helps to support the length and depth, knowing that there will be a balcony of some kind off of that, which is going to increase the massing. But to help bring that down in height, I think will help mitigate the adverse impact on the adjacent neighbor. There are some examples, I think, in this case where the entrances are raised, but if you look at the prevailing built form in the immediate context, those door heights are all within the bylaw, 1.2 meters. So I think we're not just talking about the door height in this case, but even, potentially bringing down the entire first level slightly. And I say that because, even variance number 2 and 3 can be challenging. They're at a 21.41 building depth is quite a bit. And the building, it doesn't step in towards the rear, right? You've got side yard setback variances combined with building length variances and building depth. Like it cumulatively, it's creating an impact because it just doesn't have the space. So I mean, maybe more concerns than you do. Some of the other variances, I want to make sure that this doesn't result in an overbuild of the lot. We've got two other members. I'd really like to hear what
I do
their
have some
thoughts are.
comments, thank you.
Sure, Ms. Klein, yeah, please.
When I reviewed it, I was looking at the platform as well, which is number 5. Number 8, which I'm happy that they did remove, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
certainly, yeah.
And the overlook. Now that I am here, I hear the applicant, I hear the neighbors, and I just don't think that some of these variances take into consideration the impact on the neighbors. So there's some of these variances that I can't support as well. I echo your comments, and that's where I am.
Yeah, Mr. Schwartz?
Well, I'd like to bring a motion.
Sure.
That the application be refused, given the cumulative variances and the size, particularly of the platform. They don't meet the 4 tests. So my motion is to refuse the application.
Okay. That's second by Mr. Nipfel. All in favor of that motion? All right, that's unanimous. The application is refused. All right. Members, yeah, so do I. I know we just have one item left, but a quick relief break. We'll try to wrap up before 1. So maybe just a 5-minute relief break. Okay, thank you, everybody. All right, we are back. Wrapping up our last item of the morning, item number 10, 67 Viewmount Avenue. Purpose of this application is to construct a new two-story detached dwelling with an integral garage, front porch, and cabana in the rear yard. Variances include building length, front yard setback, lot coverage, front porch encroachment into a front yard setback, parking space width, east side yard setback, and west side yard setback. On file, memo from transportation, and a letter of objection from 65 Viewmount. All right. We got our agent online.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Marco Vieira. I'm the agent and the designer. My address is 257 Dunraven Drive.
All right. We will get the last per presentation. The staff have got the 5 minutes up on the screen, sir, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. So as you stated, the application before you is to demolish the current two-story dwelling and construct a new two-story detached single-family dwelling. We're asking for 7 minor variances. The first minor variance is for a proposed building length of 19.26 meters. That 19.26 meters is primarily taken at the first floor height. The front garage is projected approximately 1 meter forward, so that the main portion of the dwelling sits further back at 18.28 meters, closer in compliance with the maximum permitted length of the bylaw of 17 meters. Variance number 2 is for a proposed front yard setback, which we believe is an improvement from the existing condition. The current house is at 6.83 meters, and the new proposed house is proposed to be set back at 7.63 meters. This is primarily to keep the house as close to the street as we can while lining up with the house to the east and giving us the proper distance from the large mature tree in the rear yard so that we can work with forestry. And we have made application to forestry to keep and preserve the existing tree in the rear yard with minimal impact. The house to the west of us is oddly set back along the street line. We do have a map that we sent in as part of our presentation indicating the majority of the houses are essentially in line with each other, but the house on our west side is oddly set back, which triggers that the front yard setback. Variance number 3 is for proposed lot coverage of 37.97%, where 35% is allowed. The main dwelling, or the actual two-story dwelling, is in compliance with the bylaw. The variance arises from the 1.5% additional area for the proposed cabana and the proposed covered area adjacent to the cabana. That gives us an extra almost 4% in terms of the lot coverage. We believe the lot coverage is generally in keeping with the houses in the neighborhood. Our house isn't protruding further back beyond our adjacent neighbors, and that the lot coverage has merely numerical difference and no impact to massing. Variance number 4 is for the proposed porch encroachment, and that's because we don't comply with the front yard setback. Then the front porch also encroaches, is in line with the property to the east. It's not enclosed, it's an open porch, only 1 story in height. We believe that that doesn't negatively impact the massing of the dwelling. Variance number 5 is for a parking width. And this variance is only triggered for a small portion within the garage area. There's a closet on the first floor that protrudes into the back of the garage, slightly reducing the width of the parking dimension inside the garage. Variance number 6 and 7 are to do with the proposed side yard setbacks. The closest on the east side is a 1.37, and then it extends towards the back, a 1.74, closely, very close to the maximum or the minimum required setback, 1.8 meters side. The west side, the current dwelling is essentially at 0.7 meters from the lot line. New one, we have pulled it back and away from the property line at 1.3 meters, allowing us to have a walkway, maintain accessibility to the rear yard, no impact to the adjacent properties. And cumulatively and in terms of numerical values, we find that the proposed variances are minor. They do meet the 4 tests. And we ask Committee of Adjustments to approve the application presented.
All right, thank you. Questions? Okay.
Oh, I do.
You do.
If nobody else.
No, please, Mr. Schwartz.
The front yard setback. I know, like, I'm looking for some justification for that front yard setback because all I've heard is that it's in line with the neighbor to the east, but when I looked at it, and you can confirm, it looks like it's way off of the neighbor on the west. There's neighbor on the west, if I read the street properly, neighbor on the west is further back, neighbor on the east is slightly further up. How do you justify moving further up when you've got a neighbor on the west so far back?
Certainly, through you, Mr. Chair. The neighbor on the west side is the only house that is actually set back along that block as far back. All the other houses are much closer to the front in terms of similar setback that we are proposing. The new house is being pushed back from the old footprint that exists there now, approximately a meter. And it's done so that the large 3-foot diameter tree in the rear yard can be maintained. So it's a combination of working with forestry to preserve the tree in the rear yard and looking at the overall streetscape where the only house that is set back further is the house to the west of ours. While we're presenting this house to be in the average setback along the street.
But you've got the house next to you, and that makes a difference, right? Like you want relief from the front yard setbacks, and yet the neighbor next to your house is further back. So my concern is that it's going to make that house look even further back and disrupt the flow of the street. How do you address that?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I disagree. I believe that the current house is closer to the existing street line than the new one that we're proposing. The fact that the first floor in height, 1-story height, restricts that setback to that point. The second floor has been pushed back almost another meter. The front facade staggers back away from the street line. So I believe that when you look at neighborhood, look at the street, we shouldn't be looking at one house that is oddly set back. We should be looking at, when viewing this house from the street and along the street line, how that impacts the overall street. And I believe we've done a good job to set it back from its original footprint, increasing the front yard setback, and still being able to comply with the requirements for forestry in preserving the large tree in the rear yard.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, we do have some area residents to hear from.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, we've unmuted Sandy Sugar.
Oh, hi. Sorry. Thank you. We're just calling regarding the property at 53 Viewmount. And we are concerned about the
Sorry.
multiplex.
Just hold on there. First, let's get your name for the record and your address, please.
Sandy Sugar at 43 Viewmount.
Okay. And your concern is with which address?
With 53 Viewmount.
63. Oh, okay. That's this afternoon. So I think we have you on the wrong item.
Oh.
You're not here for
You're at-
67. We're discussing 67 Viewmount.
Oh, okay. So they put me here on this. So what, you're in the afternoon?
Yes, it is scheduled as item 14 this afternoon. It'll be the fourth item. So hopefully we'll be able to hear from you then.
At 2 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
At 2 o'clock.
Okay,
At
thank you.
At 2 o'clock. All right.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
All right. We'll see you then. We have another area resident.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Perfect. I have a few quick questions. My name is
Before you
Michelle
get to your
Salkin.
questions, let's get your
I
name
live at
and
101
yeah, sorry, you go on.
101 Viewmount Avenue. I'm the property to the west side of this house that's being proposed to be built.
Yes, the property that's set back from the street.
That is correct. So I am actually very worried about that in regards to the overall height based on the images that were provided, even though it's showing it as a 2-story. It looks as if it's 3. There are windows at the top. My house is very set back, and so I am very worried about the shadowing into our front yard, but also our back because it does extend out. And so that is one issue that I definitely wanted to bring up. I'm also concerned in regards to the drainage. I'm wondering if anything or survey was done in regards to that. I asked that in regards to, I did see the image today, but that's not what it looked like in color for me prior to, about the surface cover, especially in the backyard. I do see that they are putting in a pool, and I'm just wondering about the runoff into my particular backyard as well. So that's one of the other issues that I have based on they're over their maximum lot coverage. I'm wondering also, I'm not sure if it's for this committee or where this is approved by, but who approves the pool, like who's the bylaw people for that? Their pool, the length of it is right along my fence line, also very close to my fence line. So I am concerned about overflow into my yard by chance that could occur and any damage that could occur. We also have a pool, but it is way further set back from any of the property lines that they're proposing for theirs. And my pool is actually gunted, it's concrete. I'm just wondering about the construction and anything that can occur to my concrete pool as well because of the construction that would be occurring, so damage to my actual property or to my house because of how close the construction is to the sidelines. And variance side on the west side. And I think that's it. If those things could sort of be addressed for me.
All right. Questions? All right, thank you. Okay. No one else?
Because the person is saying that it's only our house that's set back, but I'm not sure if that's factual. Our neighbors is also seems to be more set back on the other side of us as well, like around where we are, maybe slightly forward. But again, I am very concerned about the shadowing, and I'm wondering if on the back, I'm sure you can see by the diagrams, they do have a back porch that they've put in, but on our side, the west side, the house is extended slightly more. I'm wondering if they could sort of square that off so that the house isn't going as far back, potentially creating shadows in my backyard.
All right. Is that all?
That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm going to ask my members if they have any questions again. All right. At this time, I'd like to take it back to the agent or applicant to address some of the concerns raised by the immediate neighbor at 101, directly adjacent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wrote down some of the points. So in terms of height of the proposed dwelling, we are not asking for a height variance. We are in compliance. The proposed dormers is just for aesthetic reasons to reduce the massing of the roof. There is no proposed third floor. It is a two-story as of right within the overall height. There is no impact to the neighbor at 101 in terms of shadowing. We are on the east side of that dwelling. So, and 101 view mount actually extends past our proposed dwelling. So if there's any shadowing, it's created by 101 onto our lot. Our building length is set back considerably from 101, approximately 3 meters back. And the reason why we cut back the length of our dwelling on the east side and introduced a porch that is also to reduce the massing the neighbor at 65 view mount, so that it basically straddles this proposed dwelling between the two existing dwellings that are there now. In terms of drainage and water runoff, we will be providing and applying full grading plan and drainage mitigation during the permit process. The proposed location of the pool exceeds a minimum required setback of 1.2 meters. Main fence, we're proposing to be back 1.5 meters. And that will be constructed and inspected by law enforcement to ensure that we are in compliance. We're very confident that in terms of the proposed dwelling, all work will be maintained within our property without adverse impact to the neighbors. In terms of the overall coverage, the lot coverage proposed, the main dwelling is in compliance with the bylaw. 4%, the one-story cabana at the back enclose the pool equipment and service the pool. It's located at the rear of the lot where large vegetation of 1 story in height adjacent properties.
All right. Thank you. Questions?
I think I might have maybe 2 questions.
Yes.
So just following up on my previous question. So if I understood you correctly, you said that the setback that you're proposing is further back than the current built house slightly. Is that true? Is that what you said? Did I understand?
Through you, Mr. Chair, it is. On the illustration that's on the screen, we've indicated the outline of the existing dwelling in blue. Along the driveway, you'll see a setback indicating the setback of the current dwelling towards the street. 6.83. New proposed dwelling to the garage is at 7.67. And then the second floor is further set back approximately another.
Where is the second? So is the second? Where's the line for the second floor there? So it is further setback. So you've stepped the house back, and you've kept it further back, even though you're
Correct.
asking for the variance. You're asking for less variance than was currently there, and you're stepping back the second story as well. But
Yes.
where is the second story though?
If you look at in the floor plans that were submitted to committee on sheet 1A3, where we have the first floor plan, we've showed sorry, I'll just give you time to here. Yeah, so if you can zoom in towards the front of the dwelling, there's a chimney projection there. You'll see that hatch line going across the front of the dwelling. And if you look a little bit further to the right side of it, there is a setback measurement there of where you see the return, 1.2 meters. That second floor, that's the line of the second floor in relationship to the first floor garage.
Okay, I understand that. Good, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, let's take this into committee. Yes, Mr. Nipfel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I absolutely don't have any problems with this application as it's before us. I think it's quite reasonable. The only things that I would like to see in any approval is the rear deck, which is roofed. I think we should have a condition that it remain unenclosed so that it doesn't become part of floor area at some point. And then there's a balcony on the second story that's only a portion of the roof. And I think we should tie the size of the balcony to the floor plan. Other than that, I don't have any difficulties. I think the applicant's done a really good job at working with the site.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mr. Nitfeld. I'll make a few comments just about the front yard setback. I take the applicant's submission that they're trying to mitigate impact on that large tree at the rear. I think that's good planning rationale. I also agree with the applicant in that I understand the neighbor's house is set back, but it is the unicorn on the block. Every single house is more or less in line with the street. Viewmont Street doesn't bow or bend. It's a relatively straight street, and I think that's sort of the one anomaly. They also are afforded quite a different building length, substantial building length into the rear yard. I wouldn't be surprised if 101 was built at a different time. It may have just be a sort of planning anomaly. And my thought is that over time, if and when that property ever gets developed, they will come in line with all the other houses on the street. Yeah, I also, take the applicant's submission. It is a substantial improvement off of the existing building. There's quite a bit of setback, and they've gone a step further by stepping back the second story even more to mitigate the impact and help create a bit of a flow. I think the impact's also mitigated by the fact that there's quite a large tree in the front yard between the two properties. I would perhaps request a condition that the variance number 1, 4, and 6 be tied to the site plan. I think it's a relatively good application, and I recognize that the applicant made an effort to step the building in on the neighbor side that doesn't have quite the same length and depth. Certainly with 101, I think the full length and depth is acceptable given the condition next door. But it's quite a good, well thought out application that I think sits well within its context. They've certainly taken consideration of their surroundings. Thoughtful approach to this proposal. I know you had some concern about the.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm ready to bring a motion to approve because
Sure.
I asked the questions. I had concerns. He answered my
they're good
questions, so I'm fine with this application.
Yeah.
So I'd like to bring a motion to approve it. I just wonder, do we need to tie it to the site plan? For anything?
My recommendation, variance number 1 regarding the building length, number 4 and number 6 should be tied to the site plan, just to ensure that they maintain that slight notch. It's a really thoughtful approach to mitigating the impact on the other neighbor. and coming more in line with their rear main wall. And actually, in terms of transition, Mr. Schwartz, I think if you look at the rear condition on the site plan, the way that the rear main wall steps actually creates quite a nice transition between the properties. And I actually, in this case, I think the additional variance for that building depth actually improves the condition by creating more of a transition at the rear as well. You don't get you don't get that exposure of the side main wall of the adjacent property at 101. It helps to mitigate the impact of that neighbor there. So I think it's a very thoughtful approach. If through you, I mean, it would be, I think, appropriate to tie 1, 4, and 6 to the site plan.
Okay, so my motion is to approve and subject to tying the variances 1, 4, and 6 to the site plan submitted.
Also transportation.
There's transportation commission. Transportation.
Would you
Any other?
accept a friendly amendment that the roofed rear deck remain unenclosed and that the second floor balcony be developed substantially as per the second floor plan, which is drawing A4? That's just to make sure that it's not the whole roof.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I'm fine with those. We're getting picky, but I guess we ought to. So fine. Let's have those all again. So we're tying to the site plan 1, 4, and 6. And what, Mr. Nipfel, which other one was it?
The roofed rear deck is to remain unenclosed.
Roof rear deck to remain unenclosed
And
and
second floor balconies developed substantially in accordance with the second floor plan.
second floor balcony. Is that a variant? It's just second. I could have tied it all to the entire site plan, but second floor balcony to the second floor plan. Okay,
Yeah.
so we've got the first 3 that I said, plus the unenclosed balcony, plus the second floor balcony in accordance with the site
That's it.
and transportation conditions.
Yep.
All
Anything
right.
else?
I
Okay,
think that
so that's my motion.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Schwartz. Mr. Niffel, would you like to second that, given your
Sure.
assistance with that motion? Mr. Niffel will second that. All right. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. The application is approved with condition. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Have a wonderful afternoon.
You as well.
Reconvening?
Thank you.
Yes, the time's
When are you reconvening?
Yes. So the time is now 1:16 p.m. Staff members, would anybody object if we cut our lunch short to try to resume as close to 2 as possible? Perhaps 2:05 to come back. Give us just a little more than 45 minutes for lunch. Okay, very good. We're in agreement. So we will reconvene with item number 11 at 5 minutes past 2 p.m. today. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.